Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the July episode of Knowledge Series. Once again, my name is Olufunmilayo Lawal, and I am your host for today. So today we are having with us Dr. Fadairo, and he is going to be telling us, or is going to be talking to us about how to write grants that is going to yield. Let me put it that way. So very quickly, I'm going to be asking us to briefly in the comments in the chat box, let us know your expectations and where you're joining us from. We're going to do that for the next 2 minutes. So yes, we can start, and you can also unmute yourself and tell us your expectations on this class. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
My name is Daniel Olujide-Yelami. It's my privilege and unique opportunity.
Mr. Are you still with us? Can you still hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
we can hear you.
Okay. All right, go ahead, sir. Continue, sir. Okay, do we have any other person that would like to introduce themselves and tell us where they're from?
Hello.
Hello, go ahead, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
I don't know why I'm being muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please continue.
Okay, sir. Okay, ma. So like I said, the last class was very interesting. This class, I would love to have probably if possible, maybe a paper delivered, or maybe a transcript of those salient points that may be discussed, because some of us might not be able to catch up all the write-ups when the doctor will be delivering. And since this thing is being recorded, probably it can be transcribed for our records. I thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Transcribing might not be possible, but you can always catch a replay on the YouTube channel, sir. We would send the link to the YouTube channel so that you can always catch a replay. Thank you. All right, so very quickly, because of our time, I'm going to be calling on Mr. Emmanuel Olowoyo for the opening remarks. Mr. Emmanuel, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Olufunmilayo, for the warm welcome. And good afternoon, everyone. I know we might have, I think I'm seeing someone from another part of Africa. So maybe it's an evening wherever you're joining from. Good day to you all, development professionals. You said he's joining from Zimbabwe. Good afternoon to each and everyone. It's a delight to have each and every one of us in this session. I know definitely we have quite a lot of people that has been part of this session in previous edition, just like Mr. Jide Ojilami mentioned, and it has been a back-to-back and insightful one indeed. And on behalf of the Center for Sustainable Development alumni, network. I'm delighted it's a pleasure to welcome each and everyone to this July edition of the Development Professionals Knowledge Series, where we get to unlearn, we get to learn and relearn. I know many of us, we definitely have some professors on this call. We have some senior lecturers. We have people from academics, from within the academia, people from the NGO, private organization, and every corners which you might be joining from. And, in a world where development challenges continue to evolve over time, one thing that remains constant is that good idea alone are not enough. So it's very, very important for us to also get to learn how to present these good ideas which we have. And that's the purpose of today's call, and whereby we can get to be able to learn the power of developing effective grant proposal writing and resource mobilization. One thing which I'm very sure is that today's session is definitely going to open us to quite a lot of activities around writing proposal. And beyond that, it also helps us to learn on how we can unlock opportunities and also build partnership, relationships, and get to mobilize more resources, which we need to create the meaningful change which we all aspire for in our respective communities and in our respective institutions or organizations. I want to appreciate our esteemed facilitator, who is our guest speaker for today's session, in person of Dr. Olushola Fadairo, who is the director of the Center for Sustainable Development. He happens to be my leader, my HOD, my mentor, and if funny enough, even supervised my MSc in sustainable development when I did that in 2019, 2020. And thank you so much, sir, for gracing this very important event. I know that this period has been a very busy period for you. And yeah, to each and every one of us that are on this call, whether you're an experienced practitioner or you are just beginning your journey in the development sector, I would like and beseech you, let me use it in Peter's language, that you you get into today's session with curiosity. Forget everything you've learned before, and let's take today's session as a learning point and as a new starting point for when it comes to developing very good proposal writing and looking at the aspect of resource mobilization.
Very quickly, I'm going to be reading. So it's an honor to have with us Dr. Olushola Fadairo. Dr. Olushola Fadairo is an agricultural extension expert with interest in community development and sustainability, project management and evaluation, as well as policy issues in agriculture. In recent years, Dr. Fadairo has provided consultancy services to the World Bank assisted projects on process documentation, study, and beneficiary impact assessment of their micro projects in Nigeria, USAID Market 2 or Maize and Cassava Outgrower Scheme in Oyo State, and for RITA on its cassava and maize value chain projects. Academically, Olushola holds a bachelor's degree in agriculture from the University of Ilorin, Nigeria, master's and PhD in agricultural extension and rural development from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. He was a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Cape Town, South Africa in 2016. He is a fellow of United Nations University Education for Sustainable Development in Africa, that is UNUESDA. In terms of work experience, Olushola has a stint as a program officer and later as a training manager with private establishments in Nigeria before joining the services of the University of Ibadan in 2010 as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development. He was appointed as Director of Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Sustainability at the Emmanuel Alayande University of Education, Oyo, as a visitor academic September 2023 to September 2025. During his time, he coordinated the Professional Masters in Sustainable Integrated Rural Development in Africa, a mainly field-based capacity building course for agriculture and rural development workers at the University of Ibadan Center for Sustainable Development Practices at the University of Ibadan Center for Sustainable Development from 2016 to 2025. He practices marketing, gardening, and enjoys traveling. Dr. Olushola Fadairo is also a member of the Agricultural Extension Society of Nigeria, AESON, Rural Sociological Association of Nigeria, RUSAN, the African Association for Precision Agriculture, APA, and the International Society for Development and Sustainability, Japan. He is the National Secretary of Society for Climate Action in Nigeria. And interestingly, Dr. Olushola Fadairo is married to Dr. Angela Oluwa Fadairo, and their union is blessed with children. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with Dr. Olushola Fadairo as he takes the floor. Over to you, Doctor. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Olufumilayo, for that very warm welcome. And I thank you guys, you and Emmanuel, for this great job that you are doing to continue to stimulate, participants to bringing out, robust knowledge engagement that can further improve our capacities as individuals and as a collective. You've been doing fantastic work, and then we are really proud of you, and we are proud that you are part of CESDEV. Center for Sustainable Development is really blazing the trail, and I'd like to seize this opportunity to inform all our participants on this Zoom meeting about what CESDEV is about. Maybe towards the end of this engagement, we can have 1 or 2 minutes to further tell us about CESDEV. But importantly, I'd like to tell you of our upcoming event, which is our conference, Annual Ibadan Sustainable Development Summit, which is coming between 18th and 20th of this next month of August. You should be there, get information from our website and then from all our various platforms, our LinkedIn, about how you can be part of that very important, laudable annual summit event. Yeah, the essence of our meeting today is to share knowledge, and then very important topic that we are considering today is about grantsmanship. Let me share my slide so that we can follow together. Wow. Seems to have a little more. Okay. Hold on, please. It's open. Yeah, sorry, I'm using a new laptop, so I think I'm trying to just get accustomed to this new laptop. What is showing? No, this is not what I want to show. Wow. Windows. Wow, I seem to have a problem with this. Wow. Emmanuel, are you there? This. Oh, okay. Stop my. Just a minute, please.
No problem, sir. No problem, sir.
Where's the sunset?
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen now, sir.
Great. Thank you. Sorry, this is an emergency arrangement. My laptop crashed a few days ago, so I'm still fixing it with the repairer. But this is a new laptop that I just got and tried to just install it. And this is my first time of now coming on Zoom on it. So it's like, it's a new laptop. So I'm just trying to adjust to it. Yeah, the topic is grants and proposal development, strategies for successful resource mobilization. Emmanuel already, laid the background on why grantsmanship is very, very important. And I wouldn't want to repeat that. But before I tell you about, the techniques that you need to be armed with if you want to actually be somebody who is prominent in grantsmanship, I need to let you know about myself. Yeah, Fumilayo already told you about my background, but I didn't, in that my profile, there isn't much information about my grantsmanship experience. And I like to just, tell you a few things about what I've been able to do in the areas of grantsmanship. And I title it as my modest achievement in peer-reviewed research funding and grants management. First and foremost, I started, I joined the academia in the year 2010. But before then, I was on my PhD. And my very first grant that I can remember happened to come from the University of Ibadan postgraduate school, when I was awarded the PG College Teaching and Research Assistantship grants that provided me some stipends for my PhD study program. I didn't stay too long on that stipend, barely just about a year, when I got mainstream into the workforce of the university, and I had to just resign that grant. I resigned from that grant award so that I can, benefit maximally from my salaries that I draw from. After that, in 2015, I got a major grant from Department for International Development in the United Kingdom that took me to University of Cape Town in South Africa, where I actually worked as a visitor academic. And that happened to be one of the best, I think, the best university in Africa, University of Cape Town, courtesy of the Department for International Development. I was paid heavily dollars, and it was a real, what I could describe as a turning point in my academic trajectory. That was in 2015. Fast forward in 2017, also from that same UK agency, Department for International Development, I also got grants to promote transparency and accountability in managing Red Cross initiative in Nigeria. And then, well, one from the University of Ibadan also. And then another major one came in 2017, which I operated between 2017 and 2020. Came from the African Development Bank and Japanese Trust Fund to promote knowledge exchange and knowledge generation and promotion between Africa and Asia. And I remember that this opportunity took me to Japan, University of Tokyo, and to some other universities in Japan 4 times within a period of about 2 to 3 years. It was a collaborative effort between Nigeria, 8 African universities, and then some early career researchers in Asia, specifically in Japan. Then also another research grant for education for sustainable development in Africa, which also involved some other partners from West African countries and then East Africa and then the southern part of Africa. Fast forward to the last 2 here. Recently, in 2025, I was involved in a grant that was actually, championed by one scholar from Michigan State University, Professor Laura Shimis Olabisi. And we did this work together. To hold at Villa participatory in the whole learning experience. Now, the first activity, look at this bag. I want you to pay careful attention to this picture. Yeah. This kind of a similitude of this picture was played, pivotal role in my own grantmanship journey. I will still come back to that and tell you when I get to that point, how it actually helped me at some point in my own effort towards ensuring that I begin to step up in the areas of getting grants. But for you, look at this, bag. Assuming that this bag represents $1 million grants or pounds, which group? There are 2 groups here. The first group, you see, group 1 ready to compete immediately, and you can see their hands, stretched forward towards the grants. And you have another group waiting, open, but not yet prepared. Now, I want you to respond in the chat box by typing which group.
Doc, we can't see your screen, sir.
You can't? What?
Yes.
What's happening? At what point did you lose my screen?
Did you see the second slide? When
you can see the second slide.
Yes, we saw the second slide earlier.
This third slide, you can see it.
Yes. You might have to reshare entirely.
Okay, let me end show. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, you can enable full screen, sir.
Okay. Is it still on?
Perfect, perfect, sir.
Great.
Yeah, good.
It's okay.
Great. So this was all I was showing. Sorry, I didn't know that you are not looking at it. You are not viewing it. You are not able to see it. From my end, everything is clear. So now I want you to respond in the chat box. Which of this group you currently, by your own self-assessment, you will say that you belong to, group 1 or group 2. Because of our time, I will not be able to take, to read through our chat immediately. But, a few of us should type in the chat box, what group do you think that by your self-assessment of your current preparation or preparedness, will you say that you belong to group 1 or group 2? Now, let's move. What is grantsmanship? Very straightforward. It's the heart of acquiring peer-reviewed research funding. But what is the main issue about grantsmanship is not the definition of grantsmanship, but you must know that for you to be able to get grants, there will be need to write grant proposals. And many people don't understand what grant proposals really mean or what it represents. Many people think that grant proposals simply mean a proposal to request for money, but it's beyond that because funders are not just interested in doling out dollars of money, but they're interested in making impact. They're interested in change, promoting change, behavioral change, or what have you. And so they expect that applications must be able to respond. They are looking for collaborators, people who will collaborate with them in ensuring that the change that they are interested in promoting or making is actualized. So you see that on the one hand, grant proposal is not just about requesting for money or requesting for dollars or for funds. It's actually a proposal that requests a funder to join you as an individual or as an organization in partnership in order to achieve certain specific results. Let me check. Are you still seeing this next slide? This slide?
Yes, sir, we are.
Great. So at its best, a grant proposal is a cogent, persuasive, well-supported argument for change. It is not just about money. We're requesting for money. So it's about your ability to marshal your points, that you are well persuaded that you can achieve certain results and you can partner with organization that is interested in giving the fund to achieve the change that they intend to achieve. So this definition moves the work of grant seekers beyond a reactionary process, being reactive or dollar chasing, and it now moves it into the realm of social activism. So somebody who is well involved, in writing proposals for grants, and then who is, has had, the pedigree of winning grants, can be described as a social activist. So the process is social activism. It is no longer about supporting our organization. Come on, give us money. It's about linking arms with colleague organizations, with beneficiaries, with community members and funders to embrace a mission and confront the dragons. Now, why this definition is very important, it helps you to understand what are your expectations as somebody who is writing proposals for grants. That, look, it is not about writing good English. It is not about, research this time around. It's not just about research, that you want to show your ability to do research, methodology well laid out. No, it's about the fact that there is a fundamental issue, which is about promotion of change, which is about making certain impact that the funders are interested in. And your understanding of what is the interest of this funder is very key and very germane, is pivotal for you to be able to win that grant. And then you must now be able to now marshal your point, articulate your proposal in such a way that it will be convincing to the funders. It can well persuade them that you are the best fit to undertake these responsibilities of partnering with them to get the result they intend to get. It is very important that you put this on your mind. Now, I will share my own experiences and then draw out some lessons for grantsmanship, especially for those of us who are early career researchers who are joining this meeting today. Now, when I joined the academia, the first, apart from the grants that I got from the postgraduate college, through then it was Professor Labo Kukwala, who was the Dean of Postgraduate College, University of Ibadan. You see, these two persons you see standing beside me in this picture played very key roles in my grantsmanship journey. And I purposely put their pictures in this slide as a way of acknowledging them in this very presentation. Now, there's another third person which is not here in this picture, and I'll mention his name. His name is Professor M.K. Yahya, Mohammed Kuta Yahya. At some point, he also played, he was my first trainer who trained me in writing proposals, and I worked with him as a research assistant. Then I was just, rounding off my master's program at the University of Ibadan when I started to work with him. And eventually, through him also, I got engaged in some non-governmental organizations' job as senior program officers. It was at that time that we got involved, myself, Professor, I got involved in a project called REACH, R-E-A-C-H, Research Alliance to Combat HIV/AIDS. And then through that REACH, grants, I implemented that, grants in Nasarawa State, in some other states in the northern part of Nigeria. I wrote the proposal and also wrote the report and made the presentation. Now, from there, I got the PG College Award. And then when I joined the academia around 2010, Professor Janice Olawoye came to me. There was, he got informed from one quarters that they needed young, researchers to join efforts with others in Lusaka, in Zambia, to write a proposal for an upcoming project. And they needed somebody from Nigeria. So the information got to her, as a very senior person in the university. And then she was the one that came to me and said, Shola, do you have an international passport? I said, yes, I do, ma. And then he shared the idea with me, and I'd like to recommend you for this idea. And that was, the beginning of my journey. She recommended me. I traveled all expense paid to Zambia, to Lusaka in Zambia, joined others. I met some other colleagues there. And then, of course, some senior generation researchers were also there. And they guided us. We wrote a proposal, and that proposal led to the Education for Sustainable Development in Africa project that eventually I had to work on, for a number of years. And that also spiraled into so many other bigger opportunities for me. And I would draw lessons from my engagement with all these persons and then on all these research grants opportunities that can now serve as take home for all of us. Now, so that was how that. But the turning point came, another turning point came in 2015. You see, Professor Labo Kukwala at that time, and I think it was early 2015, he put a phone call through to me and said, Shola, there is an opportunity about this SACU fellowship program, and then I want to confirm if you will be able to, write proposal for that opportunity. I said, yeah, why not, sir? And then he said, send me your CV. I emailed my CV to him, and then, of course, he shared it with the department. I was a very young academic. I was heavily bogged down with a lot of risk. I was unable to write proposal because every day there was always one thing or the other on my table. There were students to attend to, and then the countdown, kept rolling until it was 2 days or 3 days to the end of that, to the deadline. Good enough, it was at that time that I attended a workshop Professor Labo Popola then was the director at Center for Sustainable Development. And then he organized a workshop on this same topic, something like grantsmanship or writing proposals for grant winning and the rest. Eventually, I attended that workshop. It was, one of the facilitators was Professor Adetimiri. Professor Adetimiri is now a vice chancellor in one university in Edo State. Professor Adetimiri was the one that facilitated that workshop. You know, one thing that now served as a turning point is this picture I showed you here. In Professor Adetimiri's presentation, there was a picture like this, and he said, look at this picture. He said, you find two groups of persons. So one group was, raising their hands towards the ground. The other group, arms folded. He said, by the time this grant will be let down, there is higher probability that it will fall into the hands of one of those people whose hands are raised up. And the people whose hands are folded have lesser chances of getting this grant. And then that he posed a challenge to us that, look, you are not writing for grants, you are not submitting proposals, and then you think that wishes were horses. You think that it will be so easy for beggars to write if you fold your hands. That the beginning of grantsmanship is that you must write. When there are calls for proposals, requests for applications, you must submit, you must make entry, you must make submissions. And then I thought to myself, I was seated there, that look, I had this opportunity to write a proposal, but of course, I had, I was justifying myself that time because I was so busy. If you're a young academic in the university, you know how busy your schedule can be in terms of servicing many professors, and then you're also the undergraduate coordinator, attending to many issues. But that message sank into me. It was like a bullet in my bone. Then I went home. I said, look, even though I just have 2 more days left for this proposal, I must write something. Then I locked myself in my office that day. I think whether 24 hours to the deadline or 48 hours to the deadline, I'm not too sure. But I know that it wasn't more than 48 hours to the deadline. And then I began to write proposal. I wrote. I was checking, the requirements, until I was able to get it completed and submitted. I had problems at the point of submission also, because at that time, the internet was not going well and things like that. So I had to write email, I was under pressure. Eventually, somehow, I was lucky to get the application submitted. That application was successful eventually. Something I had 3 months to write, but I could not write it. I only wrote it in 2 days. Eventually, it got the Department for International Development United Kingdom award that took me to University of Cape Town in South Africa for 1 year research engagement, and I was hosted at the African Climate and Development Initiative, and I partnered with one Professor Richard Calland of the Faculty of Public Law in South Africa. Now, that's why I love this picture so much. This played a very key role in my research or my, let's say, grantsmanship trajectory. And I'd like to share with you. I'm sure that this is also going to challenge somebody today. There are many people, many young scholars who are out there. They also wish that they could get grants. Some of them want postdoc opportunities, they want this and that, but they are not doing anything. They are not writing. They have privileges, they have opportunities, there are calls for proposals, requests for applications. They are not doing anything, and they want to get grants. Professor Adetimiri challenged us. He said, you can't get grants if you are not writing. And I said to myself, this is the message for me. And I took it up, and, I didn't regret. I did. And of course, I went to, through that opportunity, I had the SACU fellowship grants that took me to South Africa. Not only South Africa, I was in Kenya that year. I was, I visited a number of countries that same year under that SACU fellowship grant. And after that, that also spiraled into some other things. A lot of some other smaller grants came for uptake research, and then collaborations came through the network of persons I met in the process of implementing that grant, and many others. Now, what are the lessons? I'm now going to share with you what you need to know, drawing lessons from my own experience of grantsmanship. Now, you need to start early. Doctoral and postdoctoral granting mechanisms, as well as early career awards, provide the highest chances for success. Now, you see, now that you are young, especially those who are young among us, you have higher chances. The more you get old, the more older you become, the lesser your chances of getting postdoctoral opportunity. Because you see, many of the requests for applications, RFAs out there, you will normally see that they put, upper limit, especially for those who are male. Sometimes they give concession for female. They say, okay, for female, you can be up to 45. But for male, usually, what you find is either 35 or 40 years. So if you don't start, and you see, postdoctoral grants gives you, a platform, because at that time you are still, you can't compete for big grants if you don't have, experiences of managing smaller grants. And then one of the ways by which you can have experiences of managing smaller grants is through postdoctoral, or doctoral, grants. And if you want to get this grant, you need to begin to work on it before you become 40. Once you become 40, your chances of getting any postdoctoral placement or opportunity, becomes, so bleak. It becomes, so your probability becomes almost zero, So you need to work on it in good time. And now, doctoral and postdoctoral granting mechanisms, I told you that it gives you highest chances for success. A primary advantage of this mechanism is that they typically do not require significant preliminary data. So you don't need to have, a lot of experiences in terms of, okay, what have you done before? They understand that you are an early career researcher, and so it gives you a platform. Otherwise, for bigger grants, you will need to justify, you need to show experiences that you have garnered, you need to show that you have demonstrated capability to manage such big grants. But how can you get experience if you have not tried small grants like the early career grants for postdoctoral, opportunities? Now, this potential that you must have, it comes in 3 dimensions. Number 1, your education to date, including your publications and project-related experience. Number 2, the mentors with which you have surrounded yourself. And number 3, I would like to emphasize this number 3, the public importance of your topic. I normally tell my PhD students, many PhD students now, they want to do very easy research work and say, oh, this is the title I want to work on. And I used to tell them, I said, look, if you choose very simple research topics because you want to quickly go through PhD and get graduated, within a very short time, so you are looking for easy way out, you are only going to give yourself problem to fly in the future. So it's always good. I always advise students, look for topics that are, what I say, issues that are groundbreaking. Do research works that are groundbreaking. When I did my PhD research work, it was about corruption in agriculture. At that time, it was a relatively new idea for somebody to conceptualize issues around corruption. You want to study corruption in agriculture and things. I had a lot of problems and challenges at seminar, convincing, senior researchers of my ability to do this and do it well, because many of them were skeptical. Corruption, and how are you going to be able to gauge this and things like that? But I'm happy to tell you that actually provided a lot of opportunities for me, because I did something that was much more rigorous and something that was not just the common, what I would call mantra that students normally follow at that time. So I want to encourage as many who are about to commence their PhD, that please, when you are conceptualizing your PhD research, you need to put it at the back of your mind that you are preparing yourself for future grantsmanship opportunities by ensuring that you don't just take on some of this common research work that many students are wrong with today. Ensure that you take your time to conceptualize what will be novel, because by the time you are now applying for doctoral or postdoctoral opportunities, your PhD research work now becomes an important reference point for granting you that award. If you have done something that's so novel, so fantastic, everybody will be interested in you. Something like, and there are a number of issues that are very topical today, issues that has to do with water, energy, food nexus, water, energy, and food environment, issues like like climate, climate stuff, climate finance flows. All these are very important issues, and there are many others. So instead of settling down for perception of farmers about TMS variety of cassava, I'm not saying that that's not good enough, but you see, I mean, development, global north countries have moved beyond those kind of elementary research, and you know that most of the funding comes from these global north countries. And so when you are doing research works that are not really, of interest to any of them, how can it? Remember, I told you I defined for you what grant proposal, what it means. And I told you it's not just about writing application for money. I told you that it must find an alignment with the interests of the donor. The donors are not oftentimes interested in some of this little research that most of our PhD students here pursue. And that actually closes the door of getting opportunities for postdoctoral fellowship, because they will look at what you have done at your PhD level, whether it resonates with their interests, and whether it also shows that you have done something so rigorous to attest to your ability to be able to do rigorous research that they want to get you on board to undertake for them. So that's the first one. Start early. And then also, it also means that your application should also start, early. Don't wait until, deadlines are staring at you. I was just very lucky in the case of my own SACO fellowship that, but if you have the opportunity, make sure that you start early. The second one, dream big, but start small. Your dream should be very big, but you must know that Rome was not built in a day. So you have to start small. Little projects have a way of growing into bigger projects in a program of research. Students and junior faculty members sometimes believe that those of us who have been successful started with large grants. That's not true. It's really true. We did not actually start with large grants. Most of us started with, smaller grants. The beauty of the smaller grant is that it provided you with data that you can accumulate to demonstrate that I have managed $50,000, $25,000. Therefore, if you give me $500,000, I am up to task. I can also manage it. So start with smaller scope projects that can be used to build evidence for the larger project to come. Remember, our Rome was not built in a day. I emphasize that. Review panel, most of the time, they see large grants as the culmination of a growing body of work. They want to see evidence of this stairway to success. And it is your job to demonstrate that you have been on this stairway. And how do you demonstrate that you have been on this stairway? By the reasons of small grants that you have won, you have managed in the past. So if you see small grant like $1,000, I told you I started with, postgraduate college teaching and research assistantship award. By that award, every month I was entitled to some stipends. I can't remember how much it was then now, but small, but good enough to take care of myself, for every month. But that was what I got. I was using it. And then by the time I was applying for other opportunities, these are the things I would list in my CVs, that I've been able to do this, I've been able to win this grant, and so on and so forth. And that provided, a platform for me to be able to get bigger grants. So dream big, but, don't attempt to want to run to $500 million grants when you have not even won $1,000 grant, $2,000 grants. You must dream big, but you must know that starting small allows you to build experiences, to garner experiences and exposure that you will need to be able to, write for and compete favorably for larger grants. Number 3, identify and create vision with the help of a suitable mentor. Now, in my story, you will discover that I showed you some mentors. And I told you, this is Professor Laba Kukola, this is Professor Janice Olawe. I told you of Professor M.K. Yayatu, and a few others. Professor Olani at some point also came on board. I was able to stand on the shoulders of these giants. Now, if you are a highly career researcher, you need to identify and create a vision with the help of suitable mentor. A key factor in developing a vision of your ultimate large project is your what? Engagement with mentors. Is the advice of your mentors. Mentors are very useful in a number of ways. Number one, they provide guidance based on their experience because they have wealth of experience. They are able to guide you very well. Number two, they may be requested to nominate candidates for fellowship or grant opportunities. You know, I emphasize that to you. For instance, the opportunity that took me to Zambia, to Lusaka in Zambia, where I had the privilege of participating in a proposal writing workshop for a particular grant. That opportunity came via a mentor, Professor Janice Olawe. She was contacted. For instance, now I get a lot of calls, emails from, because I have also become a senior researcher now in the university. So by virtue of my network, I also give people opportunities now. Just last year, I recommended, I would say that one of my past students to attend COP, last year was COP 30, I think so, because I was in COP 29 and I built, relationships and network at COP 29. And through that relationship, when COP 30 was upcoming, I was contacted and I nominated somebody, and she got it. She got the privilege, she got the opportunity. But of course, due to one issue, she was unable to make it to COP 30. And this year, I also had the privilege of sharing the call with a few persons. So now you must work with mentors, because the kind of network that mentors have been able to build, you are still young, you are not able to build it. And so when opportunities are coming, they contact these mentors. Sometimes they ask them nominate for us. And their nominations do carry weight because they believe that if Professor so-and-so will nominate any candidate, then that candidate must have proven his or her worth. And then you are already halfway to getting or securing that opportunity. So you must, the third point, as I was telling you about the importance of mentor, is that they can provide information on links to available requests for applications. They can also provide it. And then it's usually considered acceptable to seek your own mentor. This mentorship by matchmaking, okay, you go to this person. It's better that you, as an early career researcher, identify who you want to be. And there must be a mutual agreement, and then it is always good for you to consider both on-site and off-site faculty members as your potential mentors. The fact that you are a researcher, early career researcher, a student in the University of Ibadan does not necessarily mean that you must limit yourself to University of Ibadan in choosing your mentors. When I started my PhD work was on corruption, I told you. At that time, it was relatively new to do something on corruption because there was skepticism about how will you be able to measure, quantify corruption. The popular data that we had at that time was this yearly report from Transparency International. And I used the Transparency International argument, as a justification of my own study, that if we could actually localize that kind of experience, the effort of Transparency International, then we will be on the right way towards promoting transparency in our various sectors in Nigeria. And so, but many people are worried. Are you going to be able to do this? That time, what did I do? I had a supervisor on site at the University of Ibadan. I went online to read profiles of professors who had worked in the areas of corruption, and I was able to get one, Staffan Andersen at Yale University in Sweden, I think, Yale University in Sweden, and I wrote confidential email to that professor, and he gladly obliged to be my remote supervisor. So he was supervising me remotely. He gave me access to his documents. So you must have mentors. The third point, identify and create. Okay, I've told you about mentors. Let's go to the fourth one. You must have a bank of groundbreaking research ideas and innovation. Start thinking of interesting projects in advance of requests for applications and document them, if possible. Produce a draft proposal on each of the ideas, which can later be adjusted to suit the guidelines or format of any suitable request for applications. You need to have a data bank, because sometimes some requests for applications or proposal may come so late. You may be hearing of such openings maybe 1 week, 2 weeks to the deadline. But if you are somebody who has been proactive, I told you, it's not a reactionary process. It should be a proactive process. If you have been proactive, that means that you must open your mind to identifying problems and issues, global problems, global issues. For instance, in Japan now, the main problem in Japan, one of the major problems in Japan, and that they are interested in funding, is about aging population. So you identify some of these, global, cross-cutting issues, and then try to do short proposals on them, so that when you have a call, you have something that you can just easily develop and tailor it to meeting, the interest of the funders that, is making such call. So it is always good to have, a bank of groundbreaking research ideas. Just jot them down. If you have a computer, type them and, collate them in files or in a folder, with different file names. This is about, aging aging population. This is about climate issues. This is about climate finance. This is about, corruption. This is about this and that, that is actually, addressing one global challenge or the other. Be proactive and be consistent. Arguably, grants will not come to anyone who did not participate in the submission process. Probability of being awarded can only apply to those who participate in the submission process. You can't be awarded if you don't participate. So you must be proactive. Be proactive means that, you see, you are not just, they say if wishes were horses, beggars were right. Many people are wishing, but they are not taking the steps. Many people will attend this workshop today now, for instance, this webinar, and they are not going to take any step. I took step. I remember I showed you this picture that I attended the workshop at, CESDEM that time, organized by Professor Labo Popola. I remember vividly it was Professor Adetime. A picture like this, he showed us on a slide, and that was a turning point for me. At that time, I should write a proposal. I was already invited to write a proposal, but I couldn't write because of, choked schedule. But because I was liberated as a result of this slide, and I said, wow, I must do something. I can't just wish that I get grant if I'm not writing, if I'm not making entries, I'm not making submissions. And you know it, I wrote the proposal in less than 48 hours, and eventually it became the turning point in my trajectory. So be proactive and then be consistent. Now, be consistent means that, of course, I learned of a professor, I won't mention his name, that he said that out of about 100 proposals, somebody reported to me about his speech anyway, that he wrote almost 100 proposals, but only very few. He was only lucky to get a few from the 100. I asked myself, what a patient professor he must have been, and that shows consistency. The fact that you wrote one and the response is sorry, we regret to inform you that. How many we regret to inform you that I get a number of them just about 2 or 3 days ago. If Dr. Enoch Ogene was online, she will testify to it, because I also got her involved in writing one proposal, which we are doing for EU Horizon, proposal in collaboration with some guys from many countries. It was a large proposal, and then I participated in writing a proposal. We submitted up to like 2 or 3 months ago now. It was just about 3 days ago we got feedback. Oh, we are sorry, we regret to inform you. Don't be discouraged. You will get a lot of, you will regret to inform you. You see, but you must be consistent in writing and in writing, in writing. By the time you write 10, at least you put yourself in a advantage position of getting 1 or 2 or 3. So the best even writers, they cannot tell you that when they write 10, they get the whole 10. No. But you will get to some point by the time your name became an household name in the area of a particular research work, that even when you make submissions, they just, honor you, because they know that if this is in your purview, but it takes a lot of hard work to get to that point. So be proactive and be consistent. The next one, read the guidebooks, read the guidelines, go through the application forms carefully and follow them exactly. You must pay attention to the thematic areas of interest. If they said it should not be more than 5 pages, don't go beyond that 5 pages. You must comply with font size and formatting issues, the requirements and the deadlines. All these grant funders, they don't take, this kind of excuses that our people here like to give. I'm sorry, they don't take it, I'm sorry. So and that means that, you see, and from my experience, you wait till the last day you may be disappointed because on that last day, what if your network decides not to work well? So it's always good that you start early, like I told you, read the guidelines, go through the application forms and comply with exact formats recommended, and make sure that you do your submission in time. Don't wait till the deadline. Internet can fuck you up. Some other logistics can, disappoint you. The next point, show you can logistically and feasibly conduct the proposed grant. Don't over budget. Now, this is very critical because, especially for those of us who are young graduates or graduate students and early career researcher, you can do this by collaborating with senior investigators. There are some grants, because they believe that, if you are an early career researcher, there are some grants that you are not ordinarily, they don't expect you to apply for as a standalone investigator. So the wise ones will actually collaborate with senior investigators, and that gives a kind of a boost to your chances of being awarded, because they know that, okay, you are going to be under the guidance of that senior researcher that's going to guide you. You can also present evidence that you have conducted smaller feasibility studies, and then your past experiences of grantsmanship, if you have any, your track record as a judge by relevant publications that you have made in that field. All these things are evidences that you can actually harness together to support your application, to prove that you can logistically and feasibly conduct that proposed grant. Next one, match your objectives with methods and use conceptual or theoretical frameworks to tie the proposed variables together. Those of you who are grounded in research, you understand that there must be a synergy. There must be a recurring theme through your write-up from the beginning to the very end. And then they must not be at cross purposes. They must not be at variance. Your specific objective, your research questions must be crystallized from your problem statements. And then this must translate to your objectives. And then this must be well underpinned in your method to show how are you going to be able to achieve this objective. And then it's always good to have a conceptual framework and theoretical framework to tie the proposed variables together in your, this is about research now. If we have another opportunity, we can talk about this in, in fuller, in a more robust manner. Watch your budget too. Do not over budget. Do not also under budget. And make sure that your budget is realistic. Make sure they are well justified. Budgeting is very important. Write again. I said write again, critique, and seek external review prior to submission. It takes multiple drafts to make sure you are making your case clearly. So, when you write your first draft, share it with experienced, you can even be, your peers, let them have, review, do what we call peer review. And after your peers have given you insight and opinions, the one that you think you are convincing to you to change. And then after that, you can also approach senior researchers to help you look through. Use experts for consultation as well as people outside your area of expertise who can help you to see the gaps in your logic. Now, others, there are quite a number of those points, but generally, check your email regularly and be prompted to respond to urgent matters. I almost missed that my SACU fellowship because there was a delay. I don't know whether a delay in getting feedback. They actually sent mail to me. Somehow, I didn't get the mail. I didn't check it. I checked, but I don't know what went wrong. But I didn't receive the mail until it was like 24 hours to the deadline that I was given to respond, to communicate my acceptance. That was when I got the mail. I was running here and there, because there were things I needed to do. There were documents I needed to actually also submit within that 24 hours. But good enough, thanks to God that I didn't miss the opportunity. So if you are expectant, you must be somebody who is conversant with checking your mail regularly. There are some students who don't even check their mail maybe once in 2 weeks. No, that's not it. And some people, they go to sleep, they put off their data. I mean, you open your data for 2 hours or 4 hours within 24 hours. You are not ready. Why are you putting off the data? Your Wi-Fi, your network. It should be on 24/7. It should be on 24/7. After submission, avoid sending unnecessary mails to inquire about progress. There are some people, they are never patient. You have submitted 2 weeks ago, you are writing mail. Now, if you keep writing mail, that may suggest that you have some other interest beyond the interest of the funders, and then that can be counterproductive for you. The next one, integrity counts in successful grantmanship. Your integrity counts, your integrity, because if you have worked on a proposal before, a grant of $5,000, if you didn't do it well, you may not know where information about your poor performance will reach, and that can stand against your ability to get further grants. So you must know that integrity is very important. The next one, be prepared at all times for opportunities. You must have passport photograph ready. You must have valid international passport. You must have dollar account. All these things must be handy with you. Now, I remember that there was one of my students that I told, I was invited for a youth program, and I was, sharing with some youths about this idea. I told them, look, some of you want opportunities that will take you outside of Nigeria. But if I ask you, do you have valid international passport? You don't have. Do you have dollar accounts? You don't have. Do you have passport photographs? You don't have. Some opportunities will come, and it will require you to take action within 24 or 48 hours. Good enough, one of those young persons that I spoke to, it was a church-based program anyway. So I was invited to speak at a church-based program. I spoke on something that has to do with purposeful living, something like that. And it was there I was challenging young persons that, look, you want to actualize your potentials, you want opportunities, you want platforms, but some of those platform opportunities will come suddenly, and it will require, if it doesn't meet preparation, it will slip away from your hand. I said, for instance, if somebody needs to, get 3 or 4, 5 youths, an opportunity to travel abroad, and he asks you, do you have international passport? You don't have. Now, one of those young persons that I spoke addressed in 2016, I was in Kenya. 2016 or 2015, I was in Kenya. And then I met the lady in Kenya. It was, joy, for me. And then she recounted her experience of my engagement with them at that young people's workshop, how I was paid out through my presentation. She got fired, she got inspired, and she went and get passport photographs ready. She got international passport, and she told me that exactly what I said, that opportunity came from one German foundation, and it required that you must have valid international passport, it must be submitted. And then it was at that time that it was very difficult to get international passport done in 6 months. So if she has not prepared at that time to have her own international passport handy, she would have missed the opportunity. The lady left Kenya after a few months of immersion program in Kenya, and she went to Germany. All expense paid, courtesy of that funding opportunity or grant that she got. So I'm also telling you today, you need to ensure that some of you want grants, but if I call on you today that within the next 24 hours, get me 5 passport photographs, and then your valid international passport, send the passport number to me, and then do you have a dollar account? Some persons don't have. You say, sorry, please wait for me. Let me quickly go and open one. Now, some opportunities will not allow you time to say, I want to just go and start to process this document, open dollar account. No, they will just take those who are ready and prepared. So ensure that you are ever prepared. Sometimes award-winning proposals are those ones you learned of the request for applications within a short time frame to final submission deadline. So late information is not an excuse for your inaction. I was at here at CESDEF too, at one of the halls there. We were writing proposals, myself, Professor Lado Popola, and I remember Dr. Shadi Akishete from UCH was also part of the team. I can't remember others that were present in that team. And then it was like a week to the deadline. It was one big proposal. Professor Labo was also there. We were writing proposals. I remember he said something. He said sometimes some of the proposals that get you the grant are not the ones that you even had long period of time to write. And that's stuck in my memory. So even if I get requests for applications, if I'm interested, even if it is going to expire in 1 week, you can still do something. I told you, remember my story, I told you, the Circle Fellowship, I started to write my application just within 48 hours to the deadline. Something that has been in the public domain for us to write about for about 3 months. Yet, some persons had that 3 months to write it, they didn't win, but I had 48 hours to write it and I still won. So do not, imagine if I said, oh, it's just 48 hours to the deadline, I did nothing. That means that opportunity that I'm so proud that I was a beneficiary of today wouldn't have been mine. Lastly, don't forget to cite potential external reviewers and committee reviewers where appropriate, but don't be excessively flattering. Let me just tell us that, of course, I've spoken a lot about grantmanship, but getting grant, I've shared my experiences, but getting grant requires you to be able to write too. You must write proposals. So poor grantmanship will and often does turn very good science into an unfundable grant proposal. You need good writing plus sound ideas to make a successful grantmanship. If you have very good idea, if your writing is poor, when I mean writing, I'm not talking about your handwriting now, your writing style, and if you are not skilled in the art of writing, it will spoil the good ideas. If you have very good writing skills, if it is deficit of ideas, it cannot also win. So inability to be able to win grants, I'd like to submit to you as a round off that you only don't need to be skilled in the art of writing. You also need to have sound, research ideas or sound, change ideas. The two will put you in a very advantageous position to be able to win grants. Applications, prospective applicants, especially early career researchers, they need some reasonable extent of tutelage and exposure into the art of acquiring peer-reviewed research funding. You need it. So if you are an early career researcher, you are not attached to any mentor, you may not be able to go anywhere. Even if you are able to go somewhere, you can't go far. Because, you see, experience and then the network that those senior generation of researchers have built, you cannot buy with money. I am a testament of, that, and that is what I'm telling you. And if you meet anyone who has been able to win up to 10, 15 grand, they will tell you also they rode on the shoulders of some giants at the beginning of their career. Now, generally, there are several formats. Sometimes requests for applications will specify the format they want you to use. But if there is no such specification, I think that a proposal for grants, for request for grants, can follow this format. Make sure that you have a title page. Make sure you have a summary, a section for summary. Then, of course, background introduction to, the idea and the project. And then you must also be able to tell us what is the current state of knowledge about that idea, and then justify it appropriately. You must be able to state, what will be the specific aims of that your proposal, what are the hypotheses you wish, to confirm or dispel, as the case may be. And then you must be able to marshal your research designs and methods appropriately. Then output and outcomes that were expected, you must state them. What outputs, what outcomes are you, targeting from that, undertaking or project? Then how are you going to ensure that you disseminate, the outcome, in a way of research uptake to engender sustainability? Some people will say business model. In some RFAs, they will tell you, you should also have a section for the business model. You must understand how to be able to package the business model in such a way that they are asking about sustainability plan of that your proposal. Then the work plan, their duration. Is it 1 year? Is it 6 months? Sometimes our RFA will tell you this project must end in 2 years. So if they give you that latitude, you can plan for maybe about 2 years or 18 months, within the time frame that is allowed. So in terms of your work plan, you must state the budget. It must be clear, it must be unambiguous, and then it must be feasible and it must be realistic. It must not be bloated, and it must not also be under budgeted. You must also state your motivation, what motivates you, and then you must have a section to actually at least demonstrate that you have capabilities, that you have done, you have handled some project before that you was involved, that involved, managing grants or funds, so that they can trust you that if you have been able to successfully manage funds given to you by AGRA, yes, the one that is coming from FAO, you will be able to also manage it. Nobody wants to give money to somebody who doesn't have experience in handling, similar projects in the past. And then if you have publications that is in line with what you are writing proposal on, you can also add, a few of those publications. But don't, have too lengthy publications, especially those who are in the academia. It's not by list of your publications. In the academia, some persons have up to 100 publications. If you list the 100, it may be irrelevant. Just look for the ones that are actually connected, that resonate well with the interest of that, funders, with respect to the kind of change that you are trying to, pursue in your application. Those are the ones you should put together, and don't be unnecessarily verbose, in your writing. These are very important. Now, before we go to the self-assessment, because of time constraints, otherwise, this is the self-assessment I would have given us, but I know that we are pressed for time. And there is a need for us to also entertain questions and answer. I would like to end it here so that we can have questions and answers from the house.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Olushola Fadairo. It's been an amazing time with you. And I'm going to be, just very quickly, I'm going to highlight the key take home for me. You said we should start early and then we should check our mails. You see that mail part, God will help us as Nigerians. And then we should stop switching off our data. Everything, I believe that everything will work together for our good, but these are salient points that many times we do not put into consideration. That data part, checking our emails. Some people believe that if they're not expecting any mail, there's no need to check. So thank you very much, sir. Now to the house, do we have anyone with questions? You can type your questions in the chat box, or you can go ahead to unmute yourself. Do we have anyone with questions? Probably we should just raise our hands up so that we can know how many questions we have in house before we go ahead with the question. All right, people are saying thank you so much, sir. It's really been an enlightening session. It's been eye-opening, and I believe that everyone has been charged to always prepare when opportunities come around and we are unprepared. Such opportunities just elude us. All right, so I don't think we have any question. Mr. Emmanuel Olowoyo, there's no question. I'm not seeing any question from participants.
There is a question. There is a question.
All right, sir. Unmute us. Go ahead and ask your question, sir. Dr. Ogunlade. Go ahead and ask.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate the mentor. Let me call you a mentor, sir, because I learned a lot of things now that I was not privileged to in my journey of research. Sir, I don't have any question, but to ask you to help us at every point in time when we contact you. This has been our problem. There are so many people who are into grants. When we meet, they will promise that whenever you have any difficulty, you should call and do this and that. But when it is time, they will not even have any time to even pick your call, talk less of vetting some of your write-up. So, sir, if you can spare some of your time to help us in such area, it will be appreciated. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ogunlade.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You see, that is why what makes a senior researcher to be a senior researcher, or what we call senior generation of researchers, is because they have been there for a long time, and also experience and the long years of service and commitment also comes with its own attendant challenges. Challenges means that they also have a lot of network. Their network is vast. They have a lot of responsibilities. So, some people who are now random, persons or researchers, early career researchers who just come to them wanting their input at one point in or the other, most of the time will not be so that lucky because they are very busy persons. But if you have found yourself in their circle of network before that time, for instance, if I have supervised a candidate and that candidate has been very responsive to my supervision all along, no matter how busy I am, I will still want to create time because I have now considered that as my direct mentee. I will still want to create time to attend to him or her. But somebody who just come from nowhere, a random early career researcher and said, please, I've heard about you. That person, before that person can get he may not even get my attention. It is not deliberate. It is not because they don't want to help, or it is just because they also need to prioritize. And they're also constrained in terms of time because the level at which they are operating, they have a lot of commitments. And so it only takes those who have worked closely with them prior to that time to be able to get their ears, get their attention, in good time. Otherwise, random persons who just come around and say, please, I want you to help me read this, I want to meet you, may not be so lucky. So that's a lesson for those who are early career researchers. Please, as you are starting, don't wait until you get to that point where you need senior researchers before you begin to trouble them. You must familiarize yourself first. It should not be at the time where you need their input or support or help that you are now making yourself available to them. Come and help me do this. They may not have their time. But if you have been conversant with them, they know you very well. You have been working with them. You have been, supporting their own research one way or the other. When there is a need for them to also help you, no matter how busy they are, they will still squeeze out time and say, oh, sorry, I have to do, and they will do it for you. So that is it. That will be my response to that. Imagine if we have over 100 online, for this workshop, and those 100 persons want me to have input in their work, to read. I won't be able to do that. You yourself know that over 100 will be too much for me to contend with. And that is why, but I have persons that have been working closely with me, maybe by virtue of the department that I belong. They have had, maybe by virtue of one network, or they have assisted me when I needed to do one or two things. Okay, can you write this write-up? So I feel obliged to such persons when they also need my help and input. I hope I've been able to at least answer your question or give you respond positively, or appropriately rather, to your comments.
Thank you very much. We need your address, your phone number, so that we can establish a relationship. We can establish a relationship with you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ogunlade.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ogunlade.
Okay.
There's a question. There's a question, and it reads, with your experience, if caught in the dilemma of submitting a proposal early and putting an in-depth proposal together, which will you choose, sir? Thank you. Is it better to submit early, or is it best to do rigorous research and be double sure?
Yeah, you see, while I ask you to submit early, I'm not saying that you submit nonsense early. I'm sorry to have used that word, nonsense. What I mean is that I'm not asking you to submit something that is not of quality. You shouldn't be too much in a hurry to submit what is not qualitative, because there is a recommendation that early submission is better. Okay? So, but what I'm just saying, when I say submit early, what I mean is that, look, don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until the last day. Look, these things are born out of experience. There was just about 3 or 4 months ago, there was a particular proposal that myself, Ms. Odunola, and Emmanuel Olaoluwoyo worked on. I'm sure that if he's hearing me, I will remember that has to do with climate change stuff with my colleague in Ghana. And we were to make that submission for, I think it was CLARE project, a CLARE call, CLARE. That's the call. But we waited until the last day. Of course, that was not deliberate anyway. It was because the information reached us late, and then we needed to do some consultations, and we tried to work on the proposal. But the day I was to submit was the last day. It was while I got online to submit, I began to see newer things they were asking. Okay, can you write about this? Can you provide this justification? I mean, before I could say Jack Robinson, the time was up. By the time I was about to submit, he told me that my time is expired. So, and that was the end. So we have just wasted. Imagine if I had done that 24 hours in advance. All the newer things that I discovered when I was online, I would have had ample time to actually solve, to respond to those newer things, to research and quickly fix those things, and then go ahead with my submission. But unfortunately, because I went with, I waited till the very last minute, we missed that submission. So it's always good not to wait till the last minute, the last day. Anything can happen. Internet can go bad. I mean, your laptop may crash, for instance. Look at what I had to battle with at the beginning of this webinar now, because it is a new laptop, and then it's unlike my previous laptop that I am so acquainted with. When I click this button, I know what it's going to bring up. But this one, I'm just trying to study it, and it gave me a little, itch towards the time of the commencement of my presentation. I hope I've been able to answer your question. There's one Taiwo Salahuddin also who is raising his hand. Can we have Taiwo Salahuddin?
Yes, I think we have Taiwo Salahuddin, and we also have some questions in the comment section, Doc, if you want to read them, sir, and just respond to them once, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Taiwo Salahuddin. I actually want to start by thanking Dr. Fadairo and the host of this initiative. This is really, really good. Actually, I'm a starter. Hello? Can I go on, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. Like I said I'm a starter, my first year in my MSc program, but the way Dr. Fadairo took this initiative, this session was really engaging. And I must say that I've learned a lot. I've been able to put a lot of insights from him and years of experience into perspective. And I've really seen how much this is actually helping the young minds. And I would just want to recommend to the host, because when I saw the flyer on LinkedIn, I saw Miss Lawal as the host, Dr. Fadairo, who will be my supervisor actually this second semester as the guest speaker. So I want to recommend that this is really good and is engaging, is stirring up something within young people like me. And I want to recommend, if this can actually not be a one-off thing, if it can still continue, if this can happen maybe per month. I don't know how this has been running, but this is actually a good one, especially for young researchers that are coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo, for that feedback. And maybe I should just, I'm going to provide some information in that regard later. This series is being hosted by the Center for Sustainable Development Alumni Network, which forms the association body of the MSc and PhD students that have finished their program from the Center for Sustainable Development. And I know it's been over an hour of this insightful session. Definitely, you always see sessions like this. And I think the last time I saw a grants session like this, Doctor, I think it was priced at 100,000 for you to attend that workshop. It was like the fee was 100,000 naira, but definitely this is something you are having for free. And I hope that we also know the value of the session we've had, and there is so much to learn. And also at the Department of Sustainability Studies, we have the Sustainability Learning Series, which is also hosted by the department, the Center for Sustainable Development, under the leadership of Dr. Olusola Fadairo, and we sincerely appreciate him. But sir, I want to quickly throw to you if you can briefly respond to the questions in the comment section, maybe in less than 5 minutes. And there are some important announcements which to take that speaks to the activities of the center and also some of our upcoming events. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, kindly read the questions to me. I'm
So,
trying there
okay.
anyway, but
Okay, I think there is a question from Francis that he has. How can we hunt for grants? Is it until funding agent puts a call, or are there platforms we can? Absolutely, there are platforms. So if you can speak to that, sir. And there's another question from Alaji Kamara. Is it good to email the donor for further clarification on the call? And there is a question from Khadijat. Please just permit me to use your first name. I know we have some esteemed scholars, professors, senior lecturers. Apologies if I'm not adding a professor or doctor to your name. She asks, sir, with your experience, if caught in a dilemma of submitting a proposal early and putting in-depth proposal together, which will you choose, sir? I think that's...
I think I've addressed that.
Okay, all right. So those are the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think I also explained in the course of my presentation that you don't need to put pressure on the funders, No. I think the question is different. The question you asked is that to seek clarification. Yes, you can email them. You can, if they provide phone number. Usually, some RFPs or RFA, request for proposals, that's RFPs. Some will say request for applications, RFAs. They do provide information on who you can contact, if you need clarification. They tell you if you need further information or clarification with respect to this RFA, kindly email. They'll put the name of the person there, the email address. Sometimes they may put phone number also. Now, if that is provided, you are free to call, to make clarifications, or to write email. Some requirement may not be so clear to you or too clear to you, and you want to seek further clarification on how or what exactly the funders mean by one particular statement or the other. And so you are free. You are not under any restriction to do that. What I only said that when I said you don't, put pressure on them is that it's after you have submitted your applications. And then some persons will not have the patience to wait for the applications to go through the in-house process to be completed before they begin to write, emails to them, disturbing them, wanting information on their, on the status of their applications. That's what I discourage you from doing. And the first question said that are there platforms? Of course, there are platforms. But importantly, from my experience, it's always good that you link up with mentors. Now, there are platforms, but I have seen that most of the ones that are so easy or easier to get are the ones that comes through, mentors, in terms of maybe they provide you with information or they give you recommendations and things like that. They can ask them nominate 2 persons, nominate 3 persons, or that's what happened. In my current partnership, with this Nestle Foundation in Finland that we are going to start in 2027, and with Pecasto 4 also in Finland. I was contacted, and we had meetings, phone conversations, and we developed a draft, proposal together to, get grants that can now help any career researchers within my department here at Center for Sustainable Development to participate in, Villa Caro research engagement and community effort on planetary boundary stuff in Benin Republic, and also the opportunity, chances, probability that they also go to Finland. So, and now, if those persons are able to make it to Benin Republic and Finland, they will get more connections, and that's one thing we always lead to the other. That's one thing about grantsmanship. If you get one, you work on it well, you network well. It is from that same network that you will get another one. That same funders may still call you again and say, okay, for you, those of you who worked on this, we are thinking of this and this. Can you write a proposal? Most of the times, most of these people that list a number of grants, they are invited proposals. They will tell, I've done that before, that they ask us, okay, because we have worked with the Japanese Trust Fund and African Development Bank project on the ISDA, there was a time they were to give us some millions of dollars, and they specifically asked us to write proposal, and they gave us what are the things they want us to write proposals on. And you see, we will come out and begin to say, yes, we got $1 million. Sometimes they are not usually competitive. The ones that are competitive are indeed competitive. But you see, if you do one successfully, the organization can call you. They won't even throw it open. They will just call those of you who have worked on one grant before and ask you, write another proposal. We have fund to give you for this. We want you to do this for us. So there are platforms, but the best platform is that, you must have mentors. Of course, there are platforms also, but postdoc, for instance, those who are interested in postdoc, you can take time to look at, some universities, especially in the global north countries, or some in Africa that are also known to have interest or penchant for taking, postdoc scholars, like universities in South Africa, for instance. And then through that, you'll be able to get, information that are relevant that can help you. There are platforms, but you can get more information about such platforms from your mentors and the rest. I hope I've been able to answer those questions.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. Thank you. Before you go, sir, I know that there are very important information to share. And before I hand over back to our host for today's event, for me, it has been an enlightening session all the way. And I know that I still didn't have enough time to listen to it in all over. But this is a courtesy invitation to each and every development professionals out there that are looking forward to advance their knowledge in any sustainability learning field, maybe in sustainable development, indigenous, climate, tourism, and any spheres of sustainability which you're looking forward. Maybe a diploma program, an MSc program, or a PhD program, sort of. I think the Department of Sustainability Studies, University of Ibadan, is your first choice. As far as you are in Nigeria and any part of Africa you are. We accept admission currently, and definitely the admission portal is going to be open, all things being equal, the month of August. However, you can watch the space, and you're going to see more information across our social media platforms. And as you can see on the flyer, which is on the screen. And also, Dr. Fadairo earlier mentioned this, the 17th Annual Ibadan Sustainable Development Summit is going to happen 18th to 20th of August 2026. And this is open to each and everyone. You don't have to be an academic before you get to participate. Maybe you're a development professional, you're a student, whichever category you find yourself in the development space, you're cordially invited. And definitely you see the registration fee. However, Abstract submission is going to end today. Midnight, it's going to end. So if you have that very good paper which you've published, or maybe a manuscript you're still working on, do well to submit your abstracts. That's the bit link, bit.ly/ISDS 2026. And lastly, if you also know any undergraduate students who is either in ISOA 300 level, 400 level, 500 level, you can let them know that the Nigerian University SDD Championship 2026 is still ongoing, and the application too is going to close. However, we are going to give an extension for 2 days for whoever that is interested in this. This is strictly for undergraduate students across Nigerian University, be it federal, state, or private institution. This event is hosted by the Center for Sustainable Development Alumni Network in collaboration with SDSN Nigeria, and there are amazing prizes that are going to be given to the winners of this very good event. And just like one of us requested earlier, the recordings of this session is going to be made available. It's been recorded on YouTube, and you can get to rewatch, and you can also get to learn. But I just want to say that at this very point in time, it is a very good opportunity for you to also get to apply to the Department of Sustainability and get to advance your knowledge and professional career. And thank you once again for joining. I think at this point, I will hand over back to Olufunmilayo, our esteemed host. And thank you so much for the amazing work you've been doing all the way from 2024 till date. You are highly appreciated. Over to you, Olufunmilayo.
And thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. And we've come to the end of the Development Professional Knowledge Series. Want to say a big thank you on behalf of everyone that has been in attendance. Want to say thank you to Dr. Olushola Fadairo, the head of Department Sustainability Studies. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to drink from your esteemed well of knowledge. This is just like Mr. Emmanuel said. This is an event that people pay thousands of naira for. So thank you so very much, sir. And we hope that anytime we call upon you, you are readily available unto us. And we want to say thank you to everyone that has been able to join us. We say thank you, and we look forward to having you on subsequent editions. So this is the July edition. We hope that we're going to have another edition very soon. Yes, we hope we're going to have another edition very soon. So we can all catch a replay on the YouTube channel. All right, so till we meet again, I want to say thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, and have a very fulfilling weekend.